Punch a couple buttons. And here we are. And we can remove this photo here so you can see us.
All
Welcome
right.
back, Joe West.
Thank
We
you.
are back.
Thank you.
We are back. We're a minute and a half into probably a 58-minute time period. We'll go as long as you want to go.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, you were having a thought before I had to cut
Mm-hmm.
you off. I apologize for that.
Oh, that's okay.
But let's go ahead and open up with whatever that thought was.
Okay. So yeah, what I was gonna say is I had done a reading one time. It was a high school friend of mine and her daughter. Um, and like I said, I just in my readings I say everything I see, feel, and hear because the messages are for my clients, not for me. So it was towards the end of the reading, and I told them, I said, I'm seeing 2 plus 2 equals 4, like old school addition. The 2 on the top, the 2 on the bottom, the ag sign, line below it, and then 4. And they're just both looking at me, and I look at them. I'm like, I'm not for sure what it means. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. And so the reading was done a little bit after that, and me and my friend were talking, and the next thing you know, her daughter says, I got it. I got it. 2 plus 2 equals 4. And we're both looking at her like, oh, okay. And she said that her grandpa loved algebra, what very good in math, was always talking about math. And then she had said, when a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. And I guess when her grandpa passed, she was in math class. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. It's like I said, sometimes you don't get it right away. And I mean, that's why it's so important to say everything that comes through, because you never know what that message is going to mean for that other person.
Wow. Uh,
Yeah.
you know that I've heard this is a theory. I don't know if anybody can prove it or not, but they say that music uh, and math are kind of used in the same portion of the brain because music is actually the language of math.
Hmm. Well, I can tell you I am no good at math at all, but I love music.
Well, it's not so much appreciated because I appreciate music and I have zero math skills, but
Yeah, me too.
I also cannot carry a tune in a 55-gallon drum using a forklift.
Right. Oh, neither can I, but that doesn't hold me back at all.
So you may be having that same disability I got. That part of the brain just doesn't work very well
Yeah.
because you're like,
But
I am no
it
good
is
math, no good music.
it is interesting though that you bring that up, because there is a thing called there's healing frequencies and all different kinds of frequencies that you can look up. They play them on Pandora. That's what I listen to primarily. Um, and it goes from, I believe it's like up to 700 something from 3 or 500 something. And the different frequencies hit your body and nerve system a different way. Um, so I listened to it at night, and I was listening to healing frequencies, which it says is supposed to, heal your body and whatnot. And I tell you what, I got up the next day, and I usually have like neck and back pain, and the next day everything was good. So
Cool.
yeah. So, that could have something to do with that whole math and music thing.
Could be.
It
Uh,
very well could be. Yep. Yep.
so yeah, I find information like this just infinitely fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that stuff. I mean, the frequency thing is really, really neat, and you can Google anything, on what you want, and there's all different kinds of chimes, and you mix different things in with it, and that's one thing that I tell people a lot when I do my readings is there's a huge, huge difference between listening and hearing. So when you're opening yourself up, you have to really listen to things. Like I can literally hear like leaves against each other. I can tell the different sound of the wind, how it's blowing in that. Um, so that goes right along with the frequencies. The things are just going to touch you differently with that. And when you open yourself up, that's with the vibrations too. It makes a whole world of difference.
And I happen to agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Experience. I may not have all the knowledge in the world. Who does?
Mhm. Right.
But I do have a few, 66 years of experiences.
Right, right. Yeah. And I mean, because I'm also eclectic witch, and eclectic means that I pull from all different kinds of paths. So, like, some people are just into Norse or reading runes or whatever their path is. I will look into everyone, and I'm friends with everyone, and I'll be like, oh, that's kind of neat, I want to try that out. For me, it doesn't matter what religion or what path it's on. If I am drawn to it, that's what I'm gonna do. So I've done spells, and I've talked to my spirit guides and everything, and spells are neat. It's really neat. And with me, like I said, being Sagittarius, I like to work with fire, and it's not just fire the physical form. It's fire your inner being, that really coming out in you. So, like, for me, my intention is that fire bringing out the intention of all the spells I do. And for anybody that's into that kind of stuff, doesn't know how to go about doing it, it's all about your intention and how you say your words. You have to put the emphasis on there. You have to truly believe in yourself when you're doing your spells and everything. Yeah, spell work is really, really neat.
Yeah, I've had very little experience with witches. My
Mhm.
first experience was a I was married to my first wife at the time,
Mhm.
and this girl wanted to go out with me or something. I'm not sure exactly to the extent that she wanted,
Mhm.
but she was trying to create a feeling in me for her,
Oh, okay.
and I wasn't having any part of it.
Yeah.
And it so happened that the way she met me was that her employer was a friend of mine,
Mm.
and he told me that I didn't want anything to do with that, and that's how he described her. And within a week or two, week 10 days, she was let go from his establishment
Oh, wow. Wow.
because she was
Yeah, I mean,
apparently trying to attract me or him,
uh,
and both of us were shaking it off and not having anything to do with her. And
right.
he let her go because he can't found out that she was trying to throw a rope around me too, and
Yeah,
he
you
let
don't want
he
nothing to do with that.
no.
Definitely not. No, no. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because, like, some people, think that witches and that kind of life and path and whatnot, all about, oh my gosh, you're worshiping the devil. When I told my sister about it, that's what she thought right away. And I'm like, no, I don't worship the devil. I do have an altar, and I do have the pentacle sign up in there. And a lot of people associate the pentacle with the devil. And the thing is, the pentacle actually, each point represents a specific thing. It represents earth, water, air, your spirit. Uh, it represents all those, different things, all the elements of nature. And so that's what it's honoring. It has nothing to do with the devil. I mean, there are, pagans out there and people that do worship the devil, and that's fine. My path is not that way. So when I'm at my altar, it's to worship my spirit guides, to connect with them, to leave offerings for them.
Okay. I can see that, and I can sympathize with what you're saying, because living here deep in the Bible Belt. I've
Right.
had I've had some people from the local churches, one, not having anything to do with me. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
welcome in any church in this county,
Oh,
because everybody knows I'm a ghost hunter,
yeah, yeah.
and their belief is there's no such thing as ghosts and no such things as
Mm-hmm.
spirits, and anything I'm talking to on a ghost box or however are demons.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm of the belief that demons are few and far between.
yeah.
Uh, I met a guy who he's out completely out of the paranormal now, but
Mm-hmm.
he was in the paranormal here in Arkansas for quite a few years,
Mm-hmm.
and he said he only run into one demon one time
Mm.
down in southwest Arkansas, and the demon was inhabiting a church. He was investigating a town, and they were thinking about opening the town up for paranormal investigations, because there was a struggling town. It was just 100 or so people living there,
Right.
and they were trying to bring in some outside money
Mm-hmm.
to charge for investigations in some of the houses. You got a house sitting there that maybe have somebody died in it or something, you
Right.
know. And basically the city owns it for back taxes. Why not
Mm-hmm.
open it up for investigations? It's
Right,
abandoned
right.
property at
Yeah,
that point.
yeah.
And that's what they were trying to do. And they investigated every house and didn't really find anything, any evidence
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever, until they said, "What's this building over here?" He said,
Mm.
"Well, that's a church. Surely there's nothing in there." He said, "Churches are where they'd like to congregate." And in the basement of that church was a demon.
Mm. Yeah.
Him and me can't do anything with the demon. He said he had two people go in there to look, investigate it, and he was delayed putting something up, or he was delayed. I don't remember why.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He walked in, and one guy was walking out talking about batteries.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get batteries. I got to get batteries. I got to get batteries. All he said over and over. And he got outside, started walking around their vehicles, saying, "I got to get batteries. I got to get batteries." And the other person couldn't mumble anything. They had to be helped
Wow.
out of the basement.
Wow.
And he said that's the only demon he'd ever heard of.
Wow.
And to be honest, I've heard very few reliable stories on demons. So I'm of the belief there's very few and far between demons on Earth, and most of
Yeah.
what we run into is just evil people that are come up with their evil ghosts, evil spirits,
Right.
or somebody who's wanting attention, pretending to be a demon to scare somebody.
Yeah. 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 Because a lot of times if you're not open or you don't know anything about the spirit world, it can be frightening.
Yes.
And so sometimes people mistake that as it's something evil. and it could just possibly be a spirit just trying to reach out to you. I mean, like I said, there's lost souls out there that they just don't know where they are or whatnot. um
Mm-hmm.
so I've, like I said, I've only had those two bad experiences. I don't get scared when I go into places or when a spirit is near me or anything. Where we used to live, our bedroom was upstairs, and oh my gosh, it was like a subway train when I would go to sleep. There's so many spirits would come to me, and I'd have to tell them, okay, I'm ready for bed. Y'all just need to be quiet because I need to get my sleep. Um, so some of them are anxious, some of them are upset, and they're trying to find their way home, or they're trying to find who they lost when they were still alive, and that um it's just a matter of figuring that out. And that's when people come to me to try to see that kind of stuff and hear that. Sometimes it's not a loved one that's trying to connect with them. Sometimes it's their spirit guide that is trying to connect with them. I recently had someone ask me, oh, I was telling them about different spirit guides that I work with, and they're like, well, how do I get one? I'm like, all you got to do is call out for one. I wanted a fire guide because I'm Sagittarius, so I meditated and I just said, if there's a guide out there that wants to work with me, please come and show yourself. And sometimes they don't show themselves right away. It could take a couple different times. And then she ended up showing herself to me. And I work with her with my fire stuff. And I have a water guide. I have an air guide. I've got all different kinds of guides that I work with, many, many of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I have a spirit guide. I think sometimes my biological father kind of acts as one.
Oh, it very well
Sometimes I
could be.
sometimes I feel steered in one particular direction, and I've learned over the years to not question the direction I'm being steered into, but to go that direction.
Yes, yes, definitely. And that's it's huge. I'm always also saying three words: trust, surrender, and believe. It's those are huge when you're, especially when you're meditating. I'm huge into meditation. And you really have to let everything go and just be a clean slate and really trust and believe in spirit, that spirit's going to guide you in the right way. When I do my meditation, um everything is just blank for me. So it's whatever I want to come through. If I'm trying to focus on something in particular, like I said, when I called out my fire guide, um one time I was just trying to hone in my skills and work on pulling specific spirits through one at a time. Um, and I had a fairy come through that said that she was there for me for my past life memories. Um, I have had some past life memories and did not realize they were past life memories. So, that's pretty cool too. But like I said, it's all about just opening yourself up. And if you're looking to connect with your spirit guide, it may not happen right away, but just always write down everything you see, feel, and hear, and work on it continually. Don't wait a day or a week or whatnot. Just continually work on it. When I met my water guide, I was actually taking a shower, and I had something happen to me that day that was just irritating at work. And Spirit told me to, because when I take a shower, I like to plug the tub up a little bit because I always put salt in there because that takes away the negative energy. And Spirit told me to sit down in the water. So I did, and that was when my water guide came to me. And my water guide is a brilliantly electric blue eel. His name is Maurice, and he is just amazing. And he brings about a very soothing and calming feeling to me. Whenever I need that, he comes around me.
Mm-hmm. That is interesting.
It is really interesting because I was when it happened, I thought, an eel? You're gonna give me an eel? Oh, okay. Yeah.
An eel.
So
Hmm.
right, yeah. I mean, and that's how you know that it's spirit talking to you, because I would have picked maybe a dolphin or something else. I mean.
Right. I
So,
think I was thinking somebody is looking after me uh, throughout most of my life.
mhm.
I almost drowned twice.
Oh wow.
One time I know I was conscious, at least when I pulled myself out of the water. Another time, I woke up on a dock and had no idea how I got there.
I'm
So
you got a
that was
you got a
interesting.
merman. It's a merman.
Could be, or just somebody I knew that was a good
Yeah.
swimmer.
Yeah,
Could
because
have been.
I'm
Huh?
seeing a man like lifting you up. So, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting the sense of like a merman type thing. So the underwater and that the protector.
Okay. Well, a
Yeah.
lot of women are jealous right now because when they think of Merman, they think of Jason Momoa.
Oh, right, of course, of course.
he
Yep,
he
all the women would like him.
he does nothing for me personally, but I know a lot of women who walk out on their husband and kids for just a chance at Jason Momoa.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he is quite the hottie.
If you say so.
But I feel like your merman in particular is there for strength, like to lift you up. So like when you're down under the water
Uh-huh.
and you're just feeling down or having a mental block, he's gonna be there for you.
Okay. There was another instance where my father was affected. My adoptive father was affected.
Mhm.
He, well, a little history here. He, we had some, both my father and my mother had family in Jacksonville, Florida,
Mhm.
which back in the 60s consolidated, which meant they
Mhm.
combined the city and county governments to
Right.
where the county is the city is the county. It's the
Mhm.
same, the one government instead of having city and county government.
Mhm.
They so one of them was working for the city and gave him a copy of the city charter,
Mm.
and he went to he was mayor pro tem for a while for 4 years in city council and talked about the mayor to consolidate about consolidation and sold it to him.
Wow.
They sold it to the city and county. We both had to vote, and they passed consolidation.
Mm.
This is what you call that when they combine it, starting in
Mhm.
1970. Well, my father was no longer in office by 1972,
Mhm.
but the mayor was the same. He got reelected back mayor,
Mhm.
and he wanted Augusta, Georgia was looking at consolidation, and they did consolidate about 20 years later.
Wow.
But the mayor was going to catch a flight from Columbus, Georgia to Augusta, Georgia. And if you look at a map, uh, Augusta is quite a bit north. Augusta is north of Atlanta, where
Okay.
Columbus is about even with Macon and Savannah, kind of in the middle of the state. So you got to
Mhm.
cross the state widthwise and go about a third of the length of the state to get to Augusta.
Mhm.
Well, it's a private plane. Him and his the mayor, the pilot, and a bodyguard for the mayor, which happened to be a cousin of another schoolmate of mine.
Oh,
He and
wow.
I were friends, despite the fact that I was a freshman, he was a senior.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a starting quarterback for the football team, and I was an up and coming wide receiver
Mm-hmm.
until I tore cartilage in my right knee. But
Oh.
anyway, that's why we were friends. And
Mm-hmm.
his cousin was a bodyguard for the mayor. What they were going, what we were thinking about doing is the mayor wanted my father to go because he knew more about consolidation than he did, and he
Okay.
was the one who sold it to him. And I was going to, having never been on a private plane before, I was going to fly up there with him, and of course
Okay.
talk to the bodyguard, a cousin of a friend.
Right.
About halfway up, something happened. The plane crashed violently.
Wow.
We're talking about parts of small parts of planes and small parts of people was all that was found.
Oh, jeez.
And had my father not been so adamant saying no
Mm-hmm.
to the mayor, a friend of his, who normally he would say, can you come over to my house and tie my shoe? My father would have been knocking the family over to get in the car to
Right.
go to the man's house and tie his shoe for him.
Yeah.
He was adamant, even though he called him at work several times during the day and into the evening. We left because I was working with him part time.
Mm-hmm.
We got home and he was calling him at home 2 or 3 times before he left to come out to the airport. I know you don't live very far from there, and we didn't.
Yeah.
You could be out here in 10, 12 minutes from your house, and we can go
Uh-huh.
catch the plane.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And my father was just adamant, saying no for whatever reason,
Yeah.
saying no. And of course, if we'd gone up, the two of us would have died.
Right. Right. Yep. Yep. Spirit had bigger, better things for you, like this.
Uh, yeah, it's kind of amazing that happened, and the thought
Right.
some people, and it's always been in my mind since it happened. There's no proof, there's no evidence, but that there was no reason. Clear night,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they ran into a little bit of rain, but nothing that would knock a plane down.
Mm-hmm.
There's always been the thought that it was murder,
Wow.
or should we say assassination, since he had political office, because the mayor
Right.
was looking at going in being a state senator
Mm.
and possibly eyeing U.S. Senate.
Wow. That's crazy. I got
So,
goosebumps.
so and it turned out that about a year or so after that plane crash, she married somebody else who worked for the city.
Oh, jeez.
So what were the two of them having an affair behind the mayor's back? Because he was not at home very much.
Yeah.
He
Wow.
he had he had franchises for KFC and had
Mm-hmm.
two or three KFC stores in town.
Oh, okay.
So he worked a lot of hours and being mayor.
Wow. Yeah.
So everybody kind of whispered that, but then they kind of got shut up. And then the
Yeah.
same guy hoodwinked. I'm not going to explain how. Another friend of mine that I was in the JCs with in the early 80s, 10 years later,
Mm-hmm.
out of his job with the city, so he hoodwinked him out of his pension.
Wow. That's crazy.
And it's one reason that my name never got brought up to anybody that had anything to do with the city until 10 years later. Every 10
Yeah.
years, something happened that I talked the then mayor in the early 90s after Atlanta got the 1996 Olympics into becoming the first. I was not the last, but I was the first uh, Olympic head of the city.
Oh, neat. Oh,
And I
neat.
made a speech to the city council. The mayor appointed me to that position, and we
Mhm.
talked the city into adding a 1 cent sales tax that passed.
Mm.
Because, and I suggested this. I said, put it to a vote of the people. If the people don't
Mhm.
want to pay for having Olympics and forever be a city that had Olympics in their
Mhm.
town, that's fine. They don't want it, fine. I can deal
Right.
with that. I said, but
Right.
let's put it to a vote of the people and vote for it. And
Yeah.
we did, and we talked them into increasing their taxes 1 cent and making a
That.
whole list of improvements. Due to this, we got a new police station that hadn't had one in 40 years. We built a new
Oh,
civic
wow.
center to replace our old auditorium, made it big enough
Yeah.
that we actually had a minor league hockey team playing in there. Yeah, we had to
Yeah.
buy a Zamboni.
Of course.
We fixed a off flooded, and I mean every time it rained hard, city owned golf course, a 9 hole city owned golf course, leveled it off, raised it up, and built a softball complex there, which we later built
Wow.
a 2,500 seat stadium around, so you could actually uh, have softball games that people would see, and had the other
Mhm.
ones open up for all the any kind of softball league that you wanted to
Right.
have.
Right. Yum. Yum.
We turned our minor league baseball park into a softball park, and we had the women's Olympic softball games there.
Oh, how cool. That is really, really
And
neat.
there's even now statues outside of that, now reconverted to a baseball park outside of there, talking about the Olympics.
Yeah.
And that may have been why they crashed that plane, assuming that my father would be on board and he would not run for office anymore,
Right. Right.
and the possibility of me coming up, taking over his business, of course, on his death, and me being on board the plane and getting knocked out for any future I had.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But it was very, very unusual. I even thought of it at the time, even though I was about 14, 15 at the time. That was very unusual for my father to tell somebody he had respected for so many years, no.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Very weird, eerie
And so,
feeling there.
yes, it sends chills down my back just thinking about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
somebody wanted to knock off the mayor of the city, maybe wanted to, and got my father in and got me. That's killing three birds with one stone.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
As it turned
Yeah.
out, my father never ran for office much after that, but as it turned out, I turned the city upside down like my father did with consolidation. I turned it upside down and got an Olympics there.
Yeah. Yep. So there you go. See? Yep. Both making changes.
Yes.
Definitely. Definitely. Yep. Yeah, it was interesting when you were talking about work and everything. I started thinking about there's a thing called shadow work. Um
Not familiar.
and okay. Um what that is your shadow part of yourself is the darker or hidden part. I don't always like to say darker because some people associate the word darker with evil or bad, and that isn't necessarily what it is. It's stuff that you need to work on, and sometimes it's buried so deep that you don't realize that you even need to work on it. You could have been raised a certain way, and that's why you act the way you do. And maybe you come across a certain way or something, and people talk to you a certain way. It's all about shadow work. Um, it's really digging down deep. and really getting to the problem of things that may be uncomfortable for you to talk about. Um, Things that bring up, bad memories, sad memories, stuff like that. And it's not something that you have to do with someone. Um, I tell a lot of people that they can get a book and write a letter to someone. Write down your feelings. Let's say you have an issue with someone but you're not a confrontational person. You don't feel comfortable talking to that person, saying what you want to say, then you write it down to them. And sometimes that just helps get the feelings out. If you had a bad relationship with your parents, and you didn't get a chance to make amends on something, write them a letter. Sometimes just writing gets it out, and then it releases the stuff that you didn't even know was there, or you know is there, but you just don't know how to get it out. That's what shadow work is. And sometimes it can take a long, long time to get over everything and to get everything out, but once you work on that and you get the stuff out, oh, just even the very first sense of it, it's so releasing, and it's just such a sense of freedom.
I did not know any of that, so I appreciate you sharing it with everybody.
Yeah, because everybody has something to work on.
Yes, we all pass away leaving stuff undone. Everybody
Yep,
does,
yep,
because we don't know. I'm lucky to have made it to 66. So
yep,
many of my friends did not. And
yep.
the best friend I will ever have outside of my second wife, uh, he he got struck by lightning
Oh, wow.
in 1999. He did not even make the millennium.
Wow. Wow.
And so
Mm-hmm.
uh, his brother had a heart attack about 3 years later,
Mm-hmm.
and was the only two kids that his parents had. His wife was a cancer survivor. Now they were both alive when in 1999, but I was already in Chicago when the brother died in I think 2003.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So I don't know if their parents are still alive or not, and had to bury both their children. I know they had to bury one.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
So that was that's a crazy situation. And
Yeah.
he was just 1 year older than I am. Now
Oh my goodness.
his brother was 3 years older than I am.
Wow.
And
Wow.
in theory, that was in that group of friends that we all thought we'd live in town and
Mm-hmm.
be hanging around each other forever. And I talked
Yeah.
to one friend of mine who he called and got somebody to contact me on Facebook. He didn't even have a computer, and
Wow.
told me to pass on my number so we could talk.
Yeah.
And he was getting a divorce, and just fact gotten divorced from his third wife, fourth wife,
Mm-hmm.
and was going to see if I'd gotten a divorce too, because he's lonely. He's got a
Oh.
nice 3-bedroom home in Harris County, Georgia, north of Columbus in the country. He's got 6 acres and has got a large pension from Pratt Whitney. If you
Wow.
know what Pratt Whitney is, they build a lot of engines for the military and the airlines. They're
Okay.
them and General Electric supply most, if not all, of your jet engines to all the aircraft manufactured in the United States.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of split, kind of even between the two companies. And he worked for
Yeah.
Pratt Whitney. He was a machinist, and he used to do, of course, the blades that go into a fan in the fans in the jet
Mm-hmm.
engine.
Yeah.
So he's got a
Yeah.
nice pension. He's got
Yeah.
some money coming in.
Yeah.
Plus, he's
Yeah.
also got working all that time. He paid into Social Security. He's got the pension check and Social Security check coming in.
Oh, jeez. Wow. Yeah.
And he's sitting down there in Georgia, 1 year older than I am,
Uh-huh.
and nobody to share it with.
Jeez. Well,
And he was concerned about me, trying to get hold of me, saying if I was divorced and was willing to come back to Georgia. And I said, nope. The wife and I are perfectly happy.
yeah. 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 Well, they say,
I've been I've
money
been
can't.
married. I've been married as of the 10th of November,
Mhm.
21 years.
Oh, that's awesome. That is great. Good for you. Yeah.
And as I said in the intro, if you remember that, we live very close to the longest bayou in the world.
Right,
It's
right.
only
Yeah.
about a quarter of a mile away down here in
Yeah.
southeast Arkansas, and perfectly happy with it.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, we're in our
Um,
retirement home, and I'm doing my retirement job. You're looking at my retirement.
isn't yes, yes, isn't that great? Oh, isn't that just great? That's yes, exactly. That's what I plan to do in the future. Um, I've got a little ways to go before I retire. Um, but my goal is to just keep reaching out to people. I tell everyone at the end of my lives, share like the page, just keep following me. And, I'm always networking myself, always introducing myself to people. Um, and so I'm hoping I can just travel more and some actually three of my friends said they have a paranormal group and they were doing some pendulum readings. And so it was yes, no questions. And so I said, will I be able to retire before I'm 62? And they all three said yes. So I thought, well, even if it's
Oh,
61, that'll be okay. I'll be okay with that. So
look,
it's just
be careful what you wish for. The only way the wife and I could retire before 62
mm-hmm.
was that we're both got disability.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She,
Well,
uh, I got an artificial knee in Chicago,
oh, geez.
and they said I didn't qualify. Chicago is really tough on people trying to get. Of course, they got 3 million people that are trying to get disability
Yeah.
and retire at whatever age they are. Uh,
Wow.
so but when I came down here, uh, I went ahead and applied for it here in just a couple months after arriving. In fact, I just got a permanent address. We just moved into this house in the
Mm-hmm.
spring of 2016, and I applied for it. And the guy knew what he was doing that was checking me out. He X-rayed it, found out my left knee had no cartilage, next to no cartilage.
Oh, yeah.
And in the picture of X-raying the left knee, he got just enough for the right knee to show that it was already a fake knee. It was already artificial. You could see the metal in it.
Wow. Uh-huh.
And I got immediate approval.
Wow. That's
So
awesome.
that's why I said, be careful what you wish for, because
Yeah, yeah.
I got retired right just a month or two after my 60th, not 62, 60th birthday
Oh, wow.
on a
Well,
disability. And
one of
my wife turned 60 this past summer, this past June.
oh,
In January, she had spinal fusion.
oh, geez.
They
Ugh.
three, not two of them, three of them
Oh,
are however they do it, welded together. Now,
oh,
fortunately, my,
geez.
my, my second wife is a former power lifter, and her back is so muscular they did not have to put any rods or screws in her back.
Oh, wow.
They fused it together, and of course, it healed up really quick with no metal back
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But of course, she got disability and got money from right at the time she turned 60. So be careful what you wish for. You may get it,
Yeah,
but you may not like the path you're going down.
right. Well, hopefully, because one of my spirit guides is dragon. I work with lots of dragons, and one of them is a gold dragon, and he is for or she is for harvest and prosperity and everything. So hopefully she's going to, set my path golden like she is. She's a gold dragon. She looks like the Chinese dragon and that. And I want to mention real quick that, like I said, I work with dragons. I have a lot of dragon energy. And so I wanted something for when I do my paranormal investigations, and because I have my dragons around me a lot. So I had a friend make up some jewelry for me, and we decided on the stone to be labradorite. And the reasoning behind it is because labradorite is associated with psychic mediumship. It opens up your crown chakra, and it's also connected with dragons. So I got a bracelet and earrings and a ring, and I wear that on my paranormal investigations.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Oh, if I could speak for a second,
Mm-hmm.
we just got a few more minutes, and I think we can go ahead
Yep.
and go after a second hour. I think we're done.
Okay.
But if I can speak with your golden dragon for a second,
Okay.
uh, the stock market in December, it's been subdued because they're having to raise the borrowing rates for people
Mm-hmm.
uh, to fight inflation. That's the only way to fight inflation. I don't care what the politicians say. A politician can do absolutely nothing about inflation. The only tool in the toolbox is for the Fed, which is a private bank, not a federally owned bank. They call it the Fed. It's a misnomer.
Right.
It's the big federal bank. The only authority they have on it, the president appoints the chairman. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And the chairman can't do it unless the whole panel agrees. It's a corporation.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got to raise the rate. They've been raising rates for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Certain percentage points up, and they're supposed to do their last rate increase in December.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, they'll start going down because hopefully inflation will be fixed and dropping this next year.
Yeah.
Watch when inflation starts falling. That's the time if you want to get into the stock market.
Yep.
Now, if you want to get a 2-year bond, a treasury,
Right.
go to your bank and say, I want to buy a treasury, and they're paying about 4 point some odd percent.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
much better than you can get in a savings account. That should make your golden dragon happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be
She's
sure you've worked long enough. You've got to work a number of years and pay into Social Security a number of years before you're eligible. Be sure
okay.
you've worked long enough and paid in enough to be eligible. You can check with, go on the internet and open up a Social Security account.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
And
done that before.
you can watch. You keep your account. Don't lose the account. Just open up an account there,
Yep.
and make sure if you haven't, go find you a part-time job or something where you're paying into
Right.
Social Security and you've paid enough to get that check,
Right. Yep.
and then start with a savings account, and then keep on a certain amount, just enough to cover your bills in a checking, put any excess, any overtime you get, put it in your savings. Maybe
Right.
get some treasuries, start 2-year notes,
Mm-hmm.
paying really good right now,
Mm-hmm.
and get yourself in some kind. TIAA is a good company to get involved with. Don't hate to endorse
Mm-hmm.
people, but that's the way it is. Uh, is a good company to start an account with, uh, for that, and they will get you into stocks, but they've got their own stocks they get into, but it will keep you diversified. Diversified is
Hmm.
your key. If in other words, don't buy Apple stock and Microsoft stock and a Google stock. That, buy one of
Right.
the three, not all three.
Right. Yep.
You get a retailer. You want to get a manufacturer. If you want to get into manufacturing, something like Boeing is fixing to take off. Literally, I mean, you've got
Okay.
airlines are actually doing very well. And that's one thing running inflation up. So
Yeah.
that's a little advice to your golden dragon.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Work on your own retirement and be sure you pay enough in Social Security, so you get that check.
Definitely. Yes.
So just a little advice to the golden dragon. And maybe the golden dragon can look in your accounts and say, well, you need to do this and that. So you might want to listen to it.
I think I'm going to have to definitely do that, do some meditation so I can be prepared for the future.
And watch CNBC. Again, I have no stock in CNBC, but it's kind of fun. The wife picked it up long ago before we got married as just something to watch. She likes to watch opening bell and likes to watch closing bell.
Oh, okay.
She kind of runs her day out that she's not working, where she gets up in time to see opening bell, watches it for a little bit, goes takes a nap, wakes up,
Uh-huh.
eats lunch, and then we'll watch something we recorded or do something around the house.
Uh-huh.
And then when the closing bell comes up at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central, and she
Hmm.
watches closing bell.
Oh, that's neat.
So we keep track of how the economy is doing.
Right. Yep.
And
That's
that's
good.
that's also know
Definitely.
that the Fed is doing the right thing in raising rates. People with credit cards that's in debt with their credit cards are not liking it. People who are looking for homes aren't liking it.
Hmm.
They've had a tough
Right. Right.
market with prices going through the roof the last few years, and now that there's more homes available, their interest rate is halved again.
Yeah. Yep. Very true.
They're hating it, but you got to do it to beat inflation. So it's the only thing you can do.
That's right. Yep. That is right.
All right. Is there anything you want to say? We got just a few minutes before we got to get out of here.
Uh,
I'll let you close it out.
just make sure you check out my page, Joe West Psychic Medium Empath. I do lives every Sunday. You will never be disappointed with me. Check out my readings. And there's just going to be great, great stuff happening. So check me out.
All right. We can end it right here and right
All
there.
right.
Joe, it's been a fantastic couple of shows with you.
Oh, thank you.
I've really enjoyed it. I think we've exchanged a lot of cool information, and we'll just have to do it again sometime.
Oh, definitely. Thank you. Anytime, Len. Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
And you have a great evening and a very happy Thanksgiving.
Yep, you too. Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right, that's going to be it today for our Thanksgiving special. And yes, I did have a full show on Thanksgiving, unlike a lot of people, or showing reruns or whatever. I come up with a brand new show for Thanksgiving. All right. And we had with us, of course, Joe West, Psychic Medium. Her Facebook profile is below. So go to that Facebook page and talk with Joe West, Psychic Medium Empath. All right. I'd like to one more time just broadcast that my friend of the show is going to have an event in New Orleans. I've already agreed to be at for next October 2023 in New Orleans. I've already agreed to be there. And the committee chairwoman is, of course, Phoenix Jansen. She's the head of it. The location and time and date will be announced in the future when she confirms all of that. She's working hard on that event right now. All right. Have a happy Thanksgiving night, and we will see you next week. I'm not sure who's going to be a guest, but we'll have somebody, and we'll be on countdown to Christmas. And oh, I almost forgot. Not only have a happy Thanksgiving night, have a happy and great and profitable Black Friday tomorrow. Some of those sales are cranking up in a few hours. But if you're hunting for a gift, or if you're in retail, I feel sorry for you. But have a good Black Friday. But have a great Thanksgiving. All right, we are going to get out of here as soon as I poke the right buttons here. And here is the right button. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for watching our show. Be sure to tune in to next week as once again we journey way down south into Bayou Country for another heaping portion of Southern Fried Paranormal with Len Dorman and Bones. Make sure to like, share, and follow